fun. Oh my gosh, you know everything about my life.
Well, now they do too, I guess.
That is crazy.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Damon Campbell here at St. Andrews in Detroit with a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Slayyyter.
Great to meet you, Slayyyter.
Nice to meet you.
Definitely appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, you've certainly been known to push it to the limit throughout your career, which, fittingly enough, was also your very first performance.
Yeah. Wait, you mean pushing?
Push it to the limit? I think in like a talent show?
Oh my God, how do you know that? Is this like a Nardwar interview? I'm like, what? How do you know that? How do you know that?
I just try to come prepared, that's all.
Where did I say that? Oh my God, I'm about to freak out. The first time I ever performed in any sense of the word was, me and some friends of mine in middle school performed Push It to the Limit during a talent show. No one liked it.
Oh, for real?
We got booed, and it was really embarrassing. And I was in my head, I was like, we are going to be famous.
Yeah.
We're going to get a tour bus with our faces on it.
Sure.
This is it. And it was these girls who I don't even think I stayed friends with them after that year. They ended up bullying me.
Oh, no.
But the one did at least. But I that was the first time I ever performed.
That's
so crazy.
And look at you now.
Yeah, I really was addicted to attention on stage.
Sure.
Even if it was bad, I was like, oh, I love it.
Well, sounds like you found your perfect setting for you.
Yeah, I did. I did.
And eventually you honed your skills with the help of David Cannon.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. My choir teacher. I love David Cannon. Shout out David Cannon. I went to a public high school after being raised in a Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. And it was public school music programs are really good because it's public schools just have better resources, contrary to what people may think. And it was free voice lessons. He taught me how to sing genuinely. Wow. I owe him everything. He made me so excited about music and singing and performance. And I feel like I was a class clown, but I really just loved him. Yeah, he was great.
Because it was an a cappella class? Or?
Yeah, it was a cappella choir class. We would travel. We took a field trip to Chicago once. It was it was very fun. I loved it. I still love choir music to this day.
Crazy.
Love it. Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see him play around town in his band, Woodford's Reserve?
No.
Oh, really?
He had a band?
Apparently. I think they're still doing it.
No way.
Yeah, I think he sings, obviously, and plays guitar.
In Missouri?
Yeah, I think they do classic rock covers or something like that.
No way.
Yeah. You'll have to look him up.
He loved Disney. There's no way he was in a rock band.
Really?
I don't think so. That might be a different David Cannon. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah. However, you did skip a choir recital to see Charlie XCX.
I did. That was such a thing. I got in trouble.
Exactly 5 years before opening for her?
Yes, which is crazy. I remember I was opening for her and I looked at the date of when I went to her show in St. Louis and I was like, oh my God, it was literally the exact day that I think I opened. I forget if it was the Toronto date or the DC date.
Okay.
But it was one of them and it was really crazy. But yeah, I remember my choir teacher, David Cannon, he was so mad because I told him, I was like, I didn't lie about why I was, I did lie about why I was skipping. I was like, my grandparents are dying and they got me tickets and I have to go. I would be so sad if I didn't go to this concert. I didn't really tell him, I don't know, I didn't really tell him what it was for.
Sure.
But it was during her Sucker era.
Okay.
She played at the Ready Room in St. Louis, which isn't even a venue anymore, I don't think. But I just you couldn't keep me and my friends away from a pop show in high school. We were gonna go see Marina, we were gonna see Charlie,
yeah,
we were gonna see Lana, we were gonna see the girls.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You often credit Charlie's fan accounts for some of your early success, as well as stan culture in general, which
definitely
can be very supportive, but can also be pretty ruthless. Like the time a fan was so pissed at you they literally peed on a Slayyyter shirt.
Oh my God, yeah, that was crazy. I actually love that particular fan. I have a close relationship with.
Oh, okay.
They're really sweet. They told me that it was tea, that they didn't actually pee. They poured tea on it and they were like, "Fuck you," but yeah, I think when I very first started, Charlie XCX stan accounts would send my music to her and be like, put this on the future playlist, or she had some playlist at the time that she would update, and her fans would just found me and my friend Aisha's music on Twitter, and they would send our music to her being like, oh, put this on it, and she kind of started showing love online, and then just stan culture in general as a whole started finding me.
Wow.
And it was great. Yeah.
In some ways you actually encourage hate though, because if people love something they'll talk about it, but if they hate it they'll talk about it twice as much.
Yes, absolutely. If you really dissect every big artist trajectory, there's always a moment where where they just get slammed with hate from the public. And like once you endure that, like I feel like that means you've kind of arrived. Like if you look at like Halsey or like Lana Del Rey, anyone, like it really, you have a period where you're really hated and criticized for a bunch of stuff online, but it always makes your stock go up at the end of the day.
Sure.
It's not a reason to like tap out, I
No,
think.
you gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Perhaps one of your biggest haters was like a substitute teacher in middle school.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, I hate that lady. Yeah, I had a teacher. It was so funny. When I was in 8th grade, there was a teacher, I'm not going to name names, but there was a teacher who worked at the school, and then her daughter started substitute teaching at the school. And she was a really weird teacher. We were in 8th grade, mind you, and she was very inappropriate with students. Like, was weird with like she would like flirt with like the boys. It was weird, man. It was weird. You're a weird lady if you're watching this. You are weird. And I remember we went around and we were like naming our biggest dream in class. We were like wrote it on a piece of paper and then we read it aloud to the class, which that's a weird thing to ask kids to do anyway.
Sure.
And I wrote down, I like kind of was half joking, but I wrote down, I was like, I want to win a Grammy for being a rapper.
Yeah.
And when it came time for me to read it out loud, everyone, you know, I want to be a nurse. I want to be a mother of 2. I want to be a doctor. And I was like, I want to win a Grammy for being a rapper. And she stopped on me and she was like, that'll never happen. You know that, right? And I was like, well, I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, even if it's not a Grammy, like, I still want to make music. Like, I want to be in music. And I just like, yeah, she was such a hater. And she told me not to bring my Chelsea Handler book to school. And I just,
Was there also a girl at lunch who said you'd never be famous?
Yeah. God, how do you know all these things? Yes. That girl, oh my God. I actually don't have beef with this girl. I think she just got married, so congrats to her. But one of my friends when I was a freshman in high school, she was like a really bad singer, but she also sang in that choir with me. And she was just bad. Like, you know when people can't hear that they're bad singers?
Sure.
She was one of those, and I like was kind of good.
Okay.
And I remember being at lunch and I was like, yeah, like I think I'm gonna try to make music my like life career. Like I always knew throughout my whole life that's what I wanted to do.
Sure.
And she's like, okay, but she's like, you're never gonna be famous. So she was like, you just want to be like Beyonce. Like you're not actually gonna like. And I was just like, like these haters, man. Crazy.
But look at you now.
Look at me now. I think I'm the only one. From my grade.
What can you tell us about the famous Red Hot Riplets mac and cheese from the gramophone?
Oh my God. I love it. Actually, Detroit has like hot barbecue chips also.
Oh, okay.
I just tried them at that mart that's like down the street. Not as good as a Red Hot Riplet, I'm sorry.
Sure.
But Red Hot, like, there's this macaroni and cheese at the gramophone. And you kind of have to be drunk for it to really like hit.
Oh, really?
But it's macaroni and cheese with like a lot of parsley, chopped parsley, and it has crushed Red Hot Riplets, which is like a really spicy, salty barbecue spicy chip. And it's a St. Louis chip, and it is so good. And I think about it all the time. I haven't had gramophone in years because I don't live in St. Louis anymore, unfortunately. Every time I go back, I try to get a gramophone sandwich and a little macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's to die for. And,
it is.
Speaking of which, how was your experience selling your soul to the devil in exchange for fame?
Oh my God, girl, I did something wrong because it didn't work that well, clearly.
Oh, come on now.
It semi-worked. I think I was 14 and I was like fucking around, right? This interview is so fun, by the way. I'm obsessed with this. I could do this all day. I like Googled how to sell your soul to the devil, and obviously I was raised very Catholic, so like part of me was like, I kind of believe in it a little bit, but I don't really like. I don't think that the devil really exists.
Sure.
We don't need to get all into that, but I was like looking how to do it, and I like wrote a contract, and I waited for a thunderstormy night because there's this like demon or whatever, and it was very like dumb kid like thinking they're doing like Harry Potter stuff,
right?
But it like in the back of my head, I'm like, do I have like an eternal debt that I have to pay now? Did it work? How did I get?
I think it might have worked,
but it didn't work that well because I don't know. Like, wouldn't I be like Rihanna level famous?
Well, you got to give it some more time.
Give it some time. Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to do a part 2 ritual.
Okay.
But isn't that crazy? Like, I was just joking around. I feel like people who would watch this that are into like occult stuff would be like, oh my God, don't mess around with that kind of stuff. Because I was just like, I don't know. It was a joke. Like, I was just kidding. I was kidding around. I was just doing some random stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe it did work, and maybe that's why my music hit off.
Sure. You refuse to sell out though in terms of watering down your artistry?
Yes. Yeah, man. I'm so over like I couldn't be fucked to like play the game in the way that some people like need to and want to. I want to make cool music. That's like why I started making music. There have been times where like I'll put out a song that I'm like not super stoked on because my team will really be pushing it.
Sure.
And there's like maybe like one song on my album that kind of fits that, but I still love it. Like I love every song off my album.
Yeah.
But in general, I'm never going to try to like sell out in that way. Like I don't know, like sometimes it's like, is success really worth it? Is it worth being corny? Is it worth being like embarrassing yourself on TikTok and being like, it's the song of the summer? It's not worth it. I wish artists would really take a look at themselves and a look at their content and be like, would I stand this when I was 12? Because I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would stand myself now. If I was 12 and I came across Starfucker, I would stand myself.
Of course.
And I think that that's what everyone should strive to do, is make music that they would be into as a kid. You know, I just want to make my 17-year-old self proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're doing that, right?
That's like a Virgil Abloh quote that I actually really love.
Oh,
he's like, everything I do is for my 17-year-old self.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah, definitely.
Since Hollywood can be a bit shallow, we sometimes hear about celebrities going off the deep end, and ironically, it was after a swim team practice when you dove into the fame by Lady Gaga.
Yes, I was on swim team. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had a swim meet. My mom got me into swim team so I could lose weight because I had a bit of a problem with snacking as a child. Yeah. But she got me into swim team so I could like lose some weight, and I would go. I hated it. I was never sporty. I hated it.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, my dad took me, and I think my sister also picked me up with him, took us to Best Buy and was like, if you want to get a CD or something, get something. And I like, the only CDs I had at the time were like Miley Cyrus, Cheetah Girls, High School Musical. Like I was a kid, you know?
Of course.
And then I saw the Fame CD, and I remember my sister downloaded Just Dance on iTunes like a couple weeks before, and I was like, oh, I love that song. This CD looks so cool. Like, what is this? I'm gonna buy this.
Yeah.
And I bought the CD, and it was the first CD I ever bought for myself. I remember being in the car, like wet from swim practice, taking the little booklet out, looking at the pictures. She had on like all this like faux leather latex, like these like weird crystals, like canes, and it was so cool to me. And I just remember listening to that CD over and over and over again, and I just was so enthralled by her.
Yeah.
I've never had my world changed by an album. Like, I don't think I ever will again. I think that was like a very specific, at that age, discovering that type of moment. Yeah.
What was it like to be censored in a tabloid magazine?
Oh my God, crazy. I'm like not famous enough for that. Like I was like, why would they buy this photo? This is so weird.
You keep selling yourself short here.
I'm not famous. Like, be real. Like I walked down to the deli and got a sandwich. No one gives a shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not actually famous. So I was like, what on earth? Like, why did they buy this photo? I think a photographer in Miami, because I was opening for Tuvalu in that at like Miami Bandshell, I think is the name of the venue.
Okay.
And I guess the photographer like got a picture of my undies, and they, you know, every city like photographers will just come and shoot the show. You don't have to be with the touring crew to like come and shoot. And I guess he sold the photo to a magazine, was like, oh, her pussy's out. Can I cuss?
Of course, yeah.
Her pussy's out. And they put a star on it, and I've never been more gagged. I bought like 10 copies. I was obsessed.
Yeah.
Because right before my album Starfucker, I was like, a star on my crotch? That is everything. And I was wearing a Seeking Arrangements sugar daddy dress.
Okay.
So funny.
Love it.
Yeah.
As someone who is very openly sexual, do you have any thoughts as to why that can be so upsetting to people when sex is literally the reason we even exist?
I don't know. I think in America it's really taboo. I don't think in other countries it's as taboo as it is here.
Okay.
But I think that, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like it's been a little more at the forefront of culture. I feel like sex is almost not shocking at all anymore.
Sure.
I think that my next project, I'm gonna be like covered up because, what's more shocking than that these days?
Yeah.
Like everyone, the songs on the radio, like wet ass pussy. Like I feel like it's more shocking to be more like modest in a way. Yeah, I think culture's gonna flip. We're gonna go through like We're gonna go through like a puritanical era where it's like cool to be like modest.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and on that note, you feel like sexual liberation could be having all the sex in the world or even none at all. It just depends on the individual and what empowers them.
Yeah, it really depends. I feel like I'm more in an era of the second one right now, where I'm like so focused on work, and sex is just like not on my palette right now. I just don't care.
Right.
I don't care to date. I don't care to like, but it's like, it really is just like what empowers you, what makes you feel empowered. I feel like there's a bit of a dangerousness sometimes with current like sex positivity culture, or even like, you know, like when you see on the internet just like people positioning themselves as like, be a slut, do whatever you want, and then it's like, I don't know, like, is that the best message for like young girls to hear?
Sure.
That they should just, you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
it's really like a fine line of what you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
it can,
no, totally.
it can be very, I'm very sensitive to it, because I think when I was in my early 20s, that whole like bimbo core, be a slut, do whatever you want messaging made me maybe not make the best decisions that made me feel good about myself. I kind
Sure.
of was just like doing anything with whoever, because I was like, well, it's my body and I can do what I want. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel really good walking
Right.
away from hookups. I don't know why I'm getting so deep.
Oh, no. Well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Sorry.
Is there anything else you'd like people to know about Slayyyter?
I don't know. What do I want them to know?
No pressure.
What do I want them to know? I'm really good at doing accents. I'm not going to do one, but
Okay.
I do really good accents. I can do Australian, really good at British, really good at just like, I can do impersonations really well.
Is that from traveling or?
I don't know. I think in a past life, I would have loved to have been like a comedian or like on SNL or something. That was my dream when I was little, before music. I always wanted to be on SNL.
Well, you still could be.
Yeah, that's true. I would love to get to a point of career where I could host SNL. That would be like the biggest dream of my life. I love Saturday
Host
Night Live.
and musical guest. You
Yes,
could do both.
I would love to do the double dose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It was great chatting with you.
Great chatting with you too.
Best wishes to everything coming your way.
This was so fun.
Oh, thank you so much. Any final thoughts at all before we say goodbye?
Final thoughts is just, I love Detroit. Love it. We're sitting on the M&M stage, girl, and I just had some little M&Ms backstage.
Perfect.
Yeah, the
Right
peanut
after
butter
Halloween,
ones.
too.
Right after Halloween, girl. I got the candy. Trust.
There you have it. Once again, I'm Damon Campbell, and this is Slayyyter.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.